Peace fam, it's Davina, and in this session we're practicing hip opening as a way to increase range of motion in your hips, as we know that the hips protect the low back. Come to lie down on your back. As you lie down on your back, bend your knees up so that the soles of the feet are flat on the ground. And just take a moment to become aware of the parts of your body that are connected to your mat. Notice the places where your spine arches and is no longer connected to your mat. And right away, bring awareness to the quality of your breath and the way that your breath is moving through your body. Notice if the breath is in your chest or if you're naturally a belly breather. Pelvic tilts are first. Keep your feet flat on the ground. You're going to simply arch through your low back and then lift your front hip points towards your bottom ribs. Then arch through your back so you're moving your back away from the mat. Exhale, bring your front hip points towards your bottom ribs so that your low back presses into the mat. We'll do that a few more times. Arch through the low back. And then lift your front hip points so that your low back presses into the mat. One more time. Arch through your low back. Exhale, lift the front hip points towards your bottom ribs. Keep this position. Separate your feet a little wider than your hips, so actually move your feet outside of your hips. And then take windshield wipers. Let your knees relax from one side to the other. And the goal is not to get your knees down to the ground. It's more so about becoming aware of how your hips feel as you're moving in this way. Notice if you've got any tenderness in your low back, if your groin feels tight. You're just taking note of how your body feels right now in this moment. Take one more on each side. And then meet up in a neutral position. Heel toe your feet so that your feet are about hip distance apart. Take a deep breath in and just exhale, rinse the breath out. Easy abs are next. Inhale, lift your right heel up so your shin is parallel to the floor. Exhale, put your heel down and only squeeze the muscles around your right sit bone. Left side. Inhale, lift your left shin or left heel parallel to the floor. Exhale, put your heel down, only squeeze the muscles around your left sit bone. We'll keep moving like that, alternating the sides. It's really important to notice that this is not about how many reps you do and how fast you do it. This is more so about how controlled you're lifting and lowering your leg. Good. Take one more on each side. When you're finished, bring both shins parallel to the floor like you fell back into a chair. Now you're really having to press the low back into the mat to secure your spine in a safe position. So feel your core start to turn on. Spread through your toes to activate your feet. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, lower just your right heel, squeeze the muscles around your right sit bone, and now draw your belly down. Inhale, lift the right shin. Exhale, lower your left heel, squeeze only the muscles around your left sit bone, draw your belly down. Inhale, lift, and then you'll just keep alternating in this way, slow and controlled. Again, this is not about the speed or the number of reps that you do. It is the quality of connection to your core and your low back. Good. Take one more round on each side. Notice if your hip flexors or the front of your hips start to feel tight. That's okay. And then simply rest your feet on the ground. Place your hands on your thighs, and you're just going to press your hands into your thighs for a little bit of back traction. All right, up next, we're going to play with a third round of the easy abs. Bring your shins parallel to the floor. Secure your low back against the ground. Take a deep breath in. This time, you're going to spin or roll your right thigh in. Place your heel down to the outside of your hip. Inhale, pick it back up. Exhale, spin the left thigh in, lower the left heel. Inhale, pick it back up. We'll keep moving like that. And as you're moving, just notice when you spin one leg in, what is the other leg doing? The idea is to keep the leg that's in the air neutral. Take one more on each side. And then slowly release that. Again, you can play with a little bit of back traction. Place the hands on your thighs. Draw your belly down and just press your hands into your thighs. Good. Slowly release that. Draw your right thigh into your chest. Interlace your fingers on top of your shin. If you can't grab this, you can also take the back of your leg. So as you take your hand to your shin, draw down on your thigh. Extend your left leg to hover above the ground or a little higher, okay? The goal is to keep your low back against the ground. And I'll just switch your legs out. And as you switch your legs out, really press through, point, or flex the toes of your right leg. And then switch. Draw the right thigh in, left leg goes long. You'll keep moving like this and just notice what you feel in your body. We're still in a place of observing how it feels to move. If you find yourself lowering your heel a little too much and your back arches, just lift your leg and press your low back into the mat. Hear the sound of your breath. Feel your breath move through your body. One more on each side. And then slowly release, place your feet flat on the ground. From here, we'll play with a straight leg variation. So you're going to straighten your right leg up, interlace the fingers at the back of the leg. If your body says no, you can go a little bit lower on your leg or slightly bend the knee. Okay. Extend your left leg to hover above the ground. And now you're just going to switch. Switch. So you're literally switching your legs. And as you do this, think of spinning your thighs in. And as you spin your thighs in, naturally, the inner thigh is going to awaken. And you might start to feel this in your core. Notice that my head is not lifted off of the mat. We're working the deepest layer of your abs in a very special way. Take one more on each side. Good. And then slowly release that. Roll to your side, push yourself up to a seated position just for a moment. Notice how your body feels. And then as you're ready, you're going to come into a 90-90 position so that your right shin is parallel to the top of your mat. And then your left knee can go back. If you're like, not today, then you can scoot your knee a little closer in, and that's okay, because we're going to focus on your front leg first, all right? Shift your weight forward, and so now you're going to drive your right thigh down into the ground. Flex your toes back towards your shin, and as you drive your thigh down into the ground, you're just going to stay here and breathe deeply as if you were trying to drill your shin through the ground, okay? So it's very active. You're pressing down. Notice if your left glute starts to activate, you can close the space between your left knee and your right foot so that your glute relaxes, because all the work is on the right side. Okay? Slowly relax and switch sides. So you're going to shift to bring your left foot forward, right leg back. Again, observe what works for your body. Do place the left knee in front of your hip versus out to the side, because that's going to pull on your groin. You don't want that. So you want it to be in a straight line. And now lean forward, drive your left shin into the ground, flex your left toes back towards your shin, and imagine that you could press your shin through the ground. As you do this, notice what's happening on the left side thigh, left side glute. Feel what's happening in your body. Good. Slowly release that. Switch sides. You're going to go right back to the right side. And now this time, you can bring your right knee outside of your hip. It's okay. You're going to come down to your right forearm. And as you come down to your right forearm, lift your left arm over your head. Notice how your shoulder feels. So if you reached up and it cranked up by your neck, go ahead and soften the shoulder away from the ear or move your shoulder away from your ear. Good. And then here we're just going to take some shoulder sweeps. Just make circles with your shoulder, with your arm. Good. And then the next time that you're more upright, keep your arm up. Take a deep breath in. You're going to bend your left elbow and thread the left elbow underneath your right arm, and then bring it back up. Thread it underneath, bring it back up. And the last time you're going to hold. So right now we're working thoracic rotation, and if your upper back feels really stiff or tight, this might feel like it's not accessible. If that's the case for you, you can always take a block and place it underneath your forearm, and that's going to give you some extra support. Slowly unwind from that. Switch sides. Bring your left shin forward, right leg back. You're going to come down to the left forearm, reach your right arm overhead, and then just make some circle sweeps. Good. Next time you're up top, pause. Bend the right elbow. Bring your arm underneath. And then pull it back up. Thread the right arm underneath. Pull it back up. Last one you're going to hold. Again, listen to your body. If you need that extra prop in your thoracic rotation, you'll hold with your forearm on your block. Slowly release that. Good. And then from here, you're going to take your legs out in front just to observe how it feels to sit cross-legged. Notice how the outside of your hips feel, how your groin feels. And from here, we're going to play with some circles. So simply shift your chest forward, sideways, backward, and around. And as you move in this way, it's not just to feel good. It's to observe that when you lean to the right, what's happening in your left hip? Does it feel like it's pulling? When you lean to the left, what's happening in your right hip? How does that feel in your body? And then you get to adjust. You can make your circles bigger, or you can make your circles smaller. And then change directions. Go the opposite way. As you move in this new direction, notice any new sensations that you feel in your body. Notice if you need to make your circles bigger or if you need to make your circles smaller. And then meet up in the center. As you're in the center, place your hands on your knees. Inhale, lift your chest, look up. Exhale, bring your chin to your chest, and you're going to take your upper back, back, middle back, back, lower back, back. So we're segmenting the spine. Reverse. Now you're going to take your lower back forward, middle back forward, upper back forward, lift your head. We'll do that 2 more times. Lower your chin to your chest first. Move your upper back back, middle back back, lower back back. Good. And we'll reverse it. Bring your lower back forward, middle back forward, upper back forward, lift your chest. Good. Last one, lower the chin to the chest, round each segment of your spine, and then reverse it. Good. All right. Up next, 90-90 lunges. Come into a 90-90 lunge with your left foot forward, your left foot back, right foot forward. And 90-90 is when your knee and hip is stacked directly on top of each other with your back leg, front leg, right knee, and ankle are stacked directly on top of each other. Interlace your fingers, and then think of pressing your back back so you're not arching your back. So you're going to round slightly and then rotate. As you rotate, notice the sensations that you feel, not only in your spine, but also in your left glute. Good. And then pause in the center, relax your hands down. Reach your right arm up. The left hand just relaxes by the side of the body, and you're simply going to reach your left fingertips straight down. It's going to bring you into a side bend. Good. And notice that I'm not rolling forward. The work is to stay in a side bend. Use your core to help you come upright. Release the right hand down. Lift the left arm up. Stretch your right fingertips down. Notice if you are arching your back. Knit everything in. And reach up and over with the left hand. The tendency here is to jet the left hip out to the side. Hug your hip in towards the midline of your body as you reach your right fingertips straight down. Inhale, come back through the center. Exhale, let's release that and switch sides. This time, step your left foot forward, right leg back. You can always pad your knee depending on how your knee feels in this position. Stack the knee and ankle and the back knee and hip. Interlace the fingers, press the back away from your hand, so it's almost like you're rounding, and then rotate. Notice any new sensations on this side. Good. Pause in the center, relax your hands down, and notice as you relax your hands down, if you started to arch through your back and your pelvis, lift your front hip points towards your bottom ribs. Release your right hand down, left arm reaches up, and you're just taking a side bend. So stretch your right fingertips down, reach up and over with the left. Slowly release that, come back through the center, switch. Left hand down, right arm up, knit the ribs in, reach up and over. Slowly release that. Come back through the center. And just sit your hips to your heels for a quick second. You're going to grab your blocks. If you have blocks, if you don't have them, no worries. You can try it without blocks. You can also grab books if you're practicing at home. Step your right foot forward. And this lunge is a little different than the last one. So instead of being in 90-90, you're actually going to lunge. So you're going to send your hips forward. Now, whether you feel like you need the blocks or not, go ahead and use the blocks anyways, okay? All right, in this position, Think of drawing your right hip back, left hip forward. As you shift your weight back, you're going to straighten your front leg and then rebend into your front knee. Now, as you rebend, the tendency is to open so that you can get in there, so you can get that deep lunge. The problem with that is that it's compressing the spine. So we want to rotate so that the hips stay forward as you shift your weight forward and backward. Okay. Good. Next time that you're forward, stay here in this position and then come up onto your fingertips if you're not already there. You can walk your hands back with the blocks and then think of lifting through your chest, but at the same time you lift through your chest, lift your front hip points towards your bottom ribs. So now your left glute is working and the front of your hip is stretching. Good. If it's okay, release your hands from the blocks, take your hands to your hips. I like to do thumbs against the sacrum. You're going to drive your fingertips into the sacrum and down so you can lift up and out of your waistline. Tweeze the elbows together. If it's okay, look up. Hear the sound of your breath. Feel your breath moving through your body. Slowly release that. Straighten through your front leg. Take your hands to your block. We have one more thing on this side. So if you need to tap your left hip, do what you need to do. And then you're going to lunge right back into the right side. Lift the front hip points. This time you're going to reach your hands up, interlace your fingers behind your head and neck. And instead of keeping your elbows wide, cradle your head. So bring your elbows together and look up. Notice where you're gripping and where you're holding, and see if there's space for you to be a little more gentle and soften. Slowly release that, come back to neutral. Place your hands on the block, straighten through your front leg. Switch. Bring your left foot forward, right foot back. And again, this is a deeper lunge, so you want to get in there without rotating your left hip back or right hip back, okay? Here we go. Bend into your front knee and then straighten through your front leg. Spiral your left thigh in towards the midline of your body versus letting it wing out towards the side. Rebend and then straighten. We'll do that one more time. Bend, lift the front hip points towards the bottom ribs. Straighten. As you straighten, notice how the back line of your leg feels. And then come into your lunge. Come onto your fingertips. And then you choose hand placement. I like to put the thumbs against my sacrum. Squeeze your elbows together. Lift your chest. Look up. So think of squeezing your shoulder blades towards each other. Even though you're here, we're not hanging out in a deep lunge. Everything is active. So your front hip points lift, right glute fires, and your right hip flexor is stretching. Slowly come back to center. Place your hands on your blocks. Straighten through your front leg. Good. Last round, lunge. Inhale the arms up. Interlace the fingers behind your head and neck. As you exhale, squeeze elbows together and relax your head into your hands. Squeeze your right glute so you know it's working with you. Lift through your chest. Slowly come back to the center. Release your hands down. Straighten your front leg. Slowly release that. And then just sit your hips to heels for a moment and observe how your body feels. All right. Move your blocks to the side and keep one of them close by and come to lie down on your back. As you come to lie down on your back, Bend your knees up just like we started the class, soles of the feet flat on the ground. Separate your feet a little wider than your hips. Gently relax your knees from one side to the other. As you do this for a second time, notice any new space that you have, any new sensations that you have in your hips, your groin, or your low back. Good. Pause in the center, heel toe your feet, hip distance apart. Straighten your right leg up, turn your right toes to the right, cross your right ankle over your left thigh. So we're in a figure 4 position. You can use your fingertips, or if you can't reach your fingertips, you can also use a block to press the block into your thigh, thigh into the block. Flex your toes back towards your shin. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, draw your belly down. As you do this, notice how the muscles along your spine start to relax. Deep breaths as you press the block into your thigh, thigh into your block. Slowly release that. Step your foot down, switch sides. Straighten your left leg up, turn your toes to the left, cross your left ankle over your right thigh. Use your hand or a block, press the block into the thigh, but the thigh also presses back into the block. Spread through your toes and flex your left toes back towards your shin. Deep breath in. Exhale, draw your belly down and notice how the muscles in your spine respond to this position. Take one more deep breath. Slowly release that. Step your foot down. Let your knees relax towards each other. If this feels painful, you can just be straight up, knees straight up in the air. Otherwise, let your knees relax towards each other. Observe how the back feels in this position. 3 deep breaths. After your 3rd breath, roll to your side and press yourself up to a seated position. Take a moment to observe how your hips feel, how your body feels. And I hope that you take this feeling with you for the rest of the day and that you come back to this practice as often as you need it. Peace.